Hey everybody, Jay Jackson here today and welcome to my channel. So today's video is different from most of my other videos. I do cleaning, decluttering, and organizational type of videos. If you like that type of content, make sure you subscribe to my channel. But today's video is special because Bae and we are in a tiny house. Share our experience of what we did while we were out of town in an Airbnb tiny house. So without further ado, let's get started with the video. So Bae, what would you say the reason is why did we decide to come and do a tiny house in the first place?
I would say we came to do a tiny house because my baby loved tiny houses, and she has been fantasizing about us living in a tiny house, and I saw an opportunity where we could, in essence, do an Airbnb tiny house and get the experience of, staying in a tiny house.
Yes, I have always been fascinated with tiny houses. I see them on HGTV, I see them on YouTube. This is just my thing. And then I like the minimalist, simple, or I like the simplicity, I guess you could say, more so than anything. It just really intrigues me to be involved in a tiny house. And when we saw the opportunity, or Bae, like he said, saw the opportunity to come and be in a tiny house, then we was in that car driving here. And so that's why we decided to do a tiny house. So where did we get this idea, Bae?
We got it from YouTube. We looked at a YouTuber named Levi, I cannot pronounce.
Kelly.
Oh, Levi Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes around to various tiny homes. And so Levi, we are giving you a little shout out. And a lot of them just look nice, So I saw where this particular tiny house was located in Nashville, Tennessee. And it's in a area where there are many other tiny houses. It's called Ironwood Grove. And so because of that, I was able to look and see that we were able to book around this time from June 3rd to June 6th because it looks like these tiny houses are very popular and the bookings were going pretty quick.
Or I should say, it was a surprise for me. Fascinated with tiny houses. To be specific though, this, and I think I mentioned it in the first question, this is an Airbnb. And so yeah, we decided to come here and I'm just loving it.
I know the question may be, why would we want to go to Nashville, Tennessee? Not that there are not other Airbnbs, because we're from Michigan, so it's not that there were not other Airbnbs in other areas or other states that were closer. I just think that when I saw this particular one that we're in, that Levi did a video on, I just wanted to experience it, and I saw that we had the opportunity to reserve it and book it. So Nashville, here we came.
Yes, Nashville, here we came. Okay, so what was our first impression? So I'll tell you what my first impression was, and then I'll let Bae go because he answered the first couple of questions. So my first impression was, wow. Anyway, I was saying it. Because of course, I'm a little biased though, because I like tiny houses. I'm just telling you guys, I really do like them. So yeah, that was my first impression. That was before I even got in, because when you're outside, there's a parking area, and we're in a community of approximately, I think it's 6 tiny houses. Before we even came into the house, I was like, this is it. So that was my first impression. Bae, what was your first impression?
My first impression of the tiny house, well, when I saw the area, I was, I liked the way that it looked. It was exactly what the channel was showing, and so I was like, wow, that's great. So coming to this particular tiny house, once I walked in, it is nice, but I will say I'm not necessarily all in towards the tiny houses, but to me it sort of reminds me of if you're staying in a hotel. I mean, maybe like a suite, like, about as big as that. Just the closeness of the community in regards to the tiny house community in the area, which, my baby will show you, where it has a fire pit, place where you can sit. So, for the most part, am I all in onto the tiny houses? Not exactly, but I will say this is nice.
Yeah, it's different from a hotel, that's for sure. Having your own private place. If you're inside of a home, an individual home, you don't have to worry about that. For the most part, we haven't encountered anything like that. This location is an urban part of Nashville. It's about 15 minutes approximately from the downtown area of Nashville. So things are nearby, not too far. Everything's about 10 to 15 minutes away, depending on what it is that you want as far as for attractions. So we don't really have to worry about going too far to get to a local grocery store. There's even a Dollar Tree down the street, I'm just saying. So anyway, that was a plus and a benefit for us as well. So I really like that too.
Well, yeah. Now, I will tell you this much, but I must not have looked at the tiny house a lot on the YouTube, because when I first walked in, I was saying, where's the TV? I was ready to look for the TV. You know how it is, fellas. You come in, you turn on TV. There was no TV. And so I was like, okay, that's all right. That's a little X on the box.
We didn't come to Nashville to a tiny house. Specifically, we did not do that to watch TV. We could watch TV at home.
And that's what I put in my mind, that this was spending time with my beautiful wife. Also, what I was going to say was that when I booked this January 1st of this year. And our anniversary is in February. So I wanted to try and surprise my baby with a tiny house in February, but it was cold. And so I was thinking maybe we should do it later in the year, which is now, because it would be warmer, plus we could go outside and do other things. So this is still sort of, like an anniversary gift. It's just later on.
We do stay in Michigan, so it's a lot colder around our anniversary being in February. And around that time, there's always a snowstorm. Always.
Yeah.
Or there's large amounts of snow, and we're not, even though we would have been coming to a warmer place, we just didn't want to deal with that hassle of trying to, drive the distance here and, and then coming, we just didn't want to do all of that. So we would rather do like we did and just wait until it's warmer in our state and then travel here to a warmer state, because it is a lot warmer here. I think it's about 86 degrees today.
Yeah.
So we haven't encountered it being super hot yet, but it is the beginning of June in Tennessee. So not to say that it doesn't get like that, but it's just, for the most part, thank God, we haven't encountered it being too hot yet. What did we like or didn't like?
I missed the TV, but I also understand that I do like the fact that this gives me an opportunity to talk to my wife, gives me an opportunity to spend time with her, and I'm just so happy that, babe, that you really love being here at the place. Plus, what I also like with it being in Nashville, Tennessee, gave us an opportunity to look around Nashville and, go downtown and be in a different state. Well, now I do like the, it has a pull-out bed. So, I was a little concerned in regards to laying in the bed, but I've been able to sleep pretty good. So I'm very surprised, very pleasantly surprised with that I was able to sleep pretty good. The shower, now the tiny house shower, it's a little close. I probably would want a little more room.
A little close, you mean like as far as for space, but we are in a tiny house too though. But the style of it is fantastic.
The style is very nice. Compared to like if you stayed in a hotel, the style is very nice.
Now, height is very good, I would say. So as he mentioned, he's 6'1". So I would say for a person that's probably a person that is 6'5" or 6'6", they would comfortably be able to take a shower because the shower head is very high. And so that is something that I would say that I enjoy. And it is a handheld shower in this particular model that we are staying in for the weekend. So that's one thing I would say I enjoy. And then the style of the bathroom I enjoy too. There are mirrors in the bathroom which bring out more light. The lighting in the bathroom is like, you know, on point for someone that would want to put makeup on and stuff. Now as far as for counter space, of course it's not a lot with being in a tiny house. It's a little, you know, they just don't have as much. The sink is pretty much your counter if you were going to be, you know, probably putting on some makeup or something like that. But they do have drawers right at the bottom, which are nice. Of the sink, you know, that's really nice too. And then there's some storage. There's a storage bin at the bottom, which was a part of, you know, just adding to, I guess I wouldn't say shelving, but what would you, just adding to the space.
Yeah. Plus, I will say with the tiny house, the one thing I do like, although we're saying tiny, when you walk in, it really is a lot of headroom. I mean, it's you know, it's like
the ceilings are
the
vaulted.
ceiling is vaulted, and it's a lot of headroom. So it's not as tiny as you would think. There is space for us to walk around. So really, it's like, you know, like any other house. It's just a little bit more compact, and just more or less have the essentials of what you would need in a house.
Right, I would agree with that, babe. You can't pack everything into a tiny house because that's the reason why it's called a tiny house. You bring your essentials. Like right now, we're sitting on the sofa, but like Bae had mentioned earlier in the video, once you get to pulling or sliding out this particular sofa that we are sitting on, it becomes our bed at night, which is real nice because I love that it doesn't take up space during the day. You just put it away and you pull it back out, you know, when you need to sleep on your bed. And Bae mentioned that the bed was very, very comfortable. The kitchen is behind us, so you go up the stairs, you go up the stairs that are on the side right here, and kitchen's right there. They have everything in that little kitchen. It is aesthetically pleasing, which is real nice too. There's a mini like stove. It's like a 2-burner, I think it is.
Yeah, electric 2-burner.
Everything.
Yep.
Then they have a microwave. Now this microwave is a little different. You all put down something in the comments and tell me if you've seen a microwave like this. This microwave, because I wondered if it was a stove, because it pulls down, the door pulls down instead of opens to the side. I'm so used to microwave doors opening to the side. I've never seen a microwave, I can't get my words right today, people. I've never seen a microwave where the door opens down. So it made me question, is that an oven?
I would say it's a microwave oven. It's something that we haven't necessarily seen because once you open it, pulls down. Yeah. So I would say that this is a microwave oven. You know, but yeah, I mean, from the stove you can cook some things. The oven you can put, you know, normal in regards to like microwavable things in there. Now it might be able to do even more than that, but so far, you know, we were just more or less doing microwavable things. You know, it has a mini refrigerator. So in essence, it has what you would need when you're on a trip, you know. And I would probably say if, you know, people are, like my wife was saying, a minimalist in regards to, you know, staying long term, it has what you need.
And I'm trying to think of, and then I love the sink too. The sink is really nice too. There is also storage for your clothes. And if I would say if you were to stay here for about a week or so, this place would accommodate you. You know, now as far as for accommodating more than 2 people, no. I would say that this, you know, personally, I think it would be kind of cramped. I think 2 would be the max for this place. because of it being a tiny place or a tiny house, because of bedding and sleeping area or sleeping quarters. This is a queen size bed that you would sleep on. When you are talking about the sleeping, you need to have a mask. Would you say, Bang?
Yeah, definitely. You do need to have a mask. One thing, the lighting is good, but it can also be a detriment, especially when, you know, at night, everything's fine. But once the lights, you know, daytime,
or morning
comes up. Yeah, morning
when
comes
that
up.
sun
When the sun
rises
rises, you are definitely going to need on a mask because it will wake you up. And here, you know, the sunrise, I would say around about 5:30. So if you're not a morning person, you're going to become a morning person if you don't have that mask.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they do have the shades, but it's the lighting is coming in. So you definitely would need a mask, and that helped too. That's why I was able to, you know, even sleep well, take naps, and so it did help. Once I put that mask on, I was good.
We wear masks at home anyway, so it was normal for us to have a mask. Not everybody has masks or have masks when they're traveling, but if you were to come here, my recommendation would be to have now when we're saying mask,
sleeping mask, eye mask over your eyes.
Also, I would say that we are by a train that's right outside the door. Like Babe mentioned, our particular tiny house is right on the corner, so it's traffic that goes by. You do not hear the traffic though because of the type of pillow windows, I believe, that was mentioned that they have on this particular tiny house, which are beautiful. I love the openness of the windows. Like I said, it really like opens up everything. It brings in a lot of natural light, which you all can see from the video here. But that train, it's not a real bad thing. When we read in the brochure that there's a train that's located right outside the house, and I was like, okay, how are we gonna be sleeping at night? But it's not always going past, one. A lot of times, or at least in our experience, we've only been here, this is like our second and a half, because we can't, anyway, it's like about our third day, okay?
Right, we came Friday night, so you know, Friday night, Saturday night, tonight will be our last night, and then we leave out on Monday. So ultimately, in regards to the train, we really, so far, 2 days that we may have heard the train. And here, they also have so I guess you might almost call it like a sound machine. Yeah, a sound machine. You can put that on. It gives you various sounds. I'm not sure what the sound is, but it drowns out whatever you may hear with the train if you want to have it on. I think we had it on one night. Last night we didn't even have it on, and it was not a problem.
But it was a benefit for them having the sound machine already here, and I know that's probably because of that train that's outside. But the day before we was gone most of the day, so we didn't really hear the train too. And then as long as you have that sound machine on when you're trying to sleep, you really don't hear the train. You really don't. Like I said, our particular tiny house is right next to where the train is. And not saying that the other houses are too, but ours is like it's on the corner. You know, so that's why we would experience hearing the sound of the train a little bit more than everybody else would too. Oh, I know something else that we experienced that we didn't like too much. I will say ants in this particular tiny house. I don't know about anyone else's tiny house. But I would say that it's not like, you know, a big thing. Like right now, I don't see any. But when that food comes out, it's like they can smell that food or something, or I don't know. Because I'm not an ant, so I don't know how they particularly operate.
But I will tell you one thing I do like also about this area is because they have a restaurant. Well, it's not, I'll say like it's called a grill shack. Yeah, it's called Grill Shack. And right across the street, and that was a plus because when we got here we were hungry, so you didn't really have to get back. You know, we had already driven here. It took us like 8 hours to get here, probably a little bit longer. And so when we got here we were hungry, looked across the street, and there is this place called Grill Shack. And I remember even Levi was talking about that there was this place across the street where you can go and get your burger, fries. They even had, with my baby, she doesn't really eat meat. They had like the Impossible Burger, veggie burger. And also I was able to get some wings and things, and the fries were, oh my goodness.
Those fries.
Excellent. So yeah, it's a nice little area in regards to, you can get you some food right there without having to drive out, not unless you want to, and come back and eat. And so that's probably where the ants were coming, because they smelled that food. They was like, you know, so they was ready.
Now, when we're crossing the street though, because like I said, we're on I wouldn't say a main road, it's a busy street. Mm-hmm. So the way the street is angled, because we're looking outside now, if you see us looking to the side from the windows, we are right by the street, you know. So there is just traffic all over the place, and you really have to be careful when you are crossing the street, because when we're crossing the street, there's no stop sign. So you have to be cautious of the cars, and they are just zooming fast, you know.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's, I don't want to necessarily say it's a very popular area. I mean, it's popular in regards to traffic here and there, but you know, for the most part, I mean, they're doing, you know, it's driving, they're bicycling. So, you know, if you go out, if you try and go across the street, just make sure you're looking both ways, because you don't want a situation.
You don't want to see Jesus anytime soon.
Not anytime soon, if you're trying to avoid it. Especially if you go and get your burger and you're ready to come back and eat, because we were ready to come back and eat, and we did not want to have to take our burger to Jesus. So, you know, that's a good possibility. You ready to eat, and all of a sudden you up in the air, and the Lord like, okay, hey, thanks for bringing the burger.
Oh my. Okay, so there is another thing that we particularly liked about the tiny house, and that was the garage door. I'm looking at it. That's why I'm looking and pointing over that way. I really like that if you open up that garage door, it comes to the top over our heads here, and you can see outside. And there's even a place where it's like a balcony, and you can also look at the other tiny houses as well as the fire pit. And you can even sit there and eat too, I believe.
Yes.
So that was, we haven't taken advantage of that, but we will be taking advantage of that tonight. Probably taking advantage of the fire pit, because I didn't come all the way here to not take advantage of things. I'm just saying, people.
Well, I concur. You know, it's nice to see that they have a fire pit, and it's nice to be able to open up the garage door and then have the fresh air come in. And, you know, look at your neighbors. Truth be told, it's one of those areas in regards to this particular area. You had a lot of friends. As my wife said, you know, really only you know, 2 can fit in this particular Airbnb. But with your friends, if you get everyone to you know, book a reservation with all the other Airbnbs, you can lift up the garage door, and they can lift up theirs, and you can be talking and have a little party with your friends right there. You know, so.
Yeah, I think that this would be a fun trip for family. Like if you were to come together, and like Bae said, just come together as a little community outside. I'm not sure if all of the tiny houses have this garage door though, because they're not all designed the same way.
Right.
So you would have to look into that depending on which tiny house you would like to be interested in staying. But yeah, they're all designed differently. So yeah, you would have to look into that. Okay, so like we mentioned about the attractions, one of the attractions is what Bae mentioned about the grill shack across the street, and it does look like a shack too. It looks just like what It is called a grill shack, but that food is just off the chain, especially those fries. And then there are nearby things, like we mentioned earlier in the video, that we're just 15 minutes outside of downtown Nashville, so that's a plus and everything. We've only been here for a few days, so we don't know everything that is in the surrounding areas. But yeah, we ended up going to Centennial Park, and that was a nice place. We ended up going there, and it is a park. It was hot though. We didn't stay there for very long. It was a lot of people there too though. And when we visited, we just drove through downtown Nashville. It was very busy. Everybody and their mama was out for sure. So, but we didn't get out the car. We just drove through downtown Detroit. It reminded us of our city where we stay in Michigan or outside of that city. And also too, we ended up going to, what was that place that we went to?
Well, we went to the pedestrian bridge.
Oh yeah.
Which, you know, it's a bridge where just pedestrians just walk, but you're able to get a better view of downtown Nashville. We went to this restaurant called Another Broken Egg. Yeah. And food was excellent there. Food was great there. Yeah. So really, downtown Nashville has a lot of restaurants, bar and grill. From what we saw, you know, Nashville's, like my wife was saying, pretty much jumping. You know, there's a lot of people down there. Nice attractions from what we saw here and there. I mean, do we know all the attractions? No. I mean, it was just more of, as I said, it was busy. You know, it was just.
Would we think about doing something like this long term? Is our next question.
Ooh, long term.
You think you would do this long term, babe? Well, you did kind of mention you're not too into this as much as.
I would say for me myself, I'm a maximalist. Me myself, I almost want a mansion. My wife loved tiny houses, so I don't know. But
babe, you gotta admit though, you can't see yourself doing this long term. But why would you? I mean, you did say you're a maximalist. I get that, but then at the same time, I think that you could probably do this. You know, it would take some getting used to. That was one of the reasons why we tried this too, to see if we could do this, because, you know, with the two of us getting older and everything, and the kids are getting older and they don't have to necessarily stay in the house with us, having a mansion, me being the person that is the one that is at home that is cleaning everything, no ma'am, no sir. Because who has to clean that? Most times, not saying that he won't share in the cleaning, but most times he's at work, I'm at home. So I'm going to be the one that's going to be cleaning that. So I don't want a big house. If you have a small house, it's less to maintain.
Well, I will say this much. I'm not necessarily saying I would not stay in a tiny house, because there are other tiny houses I've seen, and based on the square footage, because some of them, it depends on the square footage. You know, you can have some maybe 150 square foot, which may not be much. I've seen some, maybe the square foot might almost be like 500 square feet. And some of them that I've seen, they are really nice. I mean, they have luxurious type tiny houses where, you know, you can almost put a king size bed in it, and, you know, the closet space looks nice. So in a lot of ways, I'm not going to sit and say no. So to truly say I would not stay in a tiny house, I'd say the story on that is not necessarily written to say I wouldn't do it. It depends on, it's like anything, it depends on the place. If I got where we both were able to have our office space, and also, you know, with our living space and things of that nature, because there are tiny houses that do even offer that, where you're able to have your little office space and things like that, I would probably say, yeah, I could live in one.
Yeah, you just have to be creative, you know, I would say. And I would say with the tiny house, that's how things are. You just have to be creative with what you're doing and use every bit of space that you can for the most part. I think we could do it. I really do. I could see myself long term, but like I said, the reason why I see that is because I like the idea of simplicity, you know, more so. It's simple. It's a simple way of life to me. It's a lifestyle. Okay, so babe, on a scale from 1 to 10, what would you say is your overall experience with this particular tiny house?
8.
8.
8.
Wow, that's high.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. So what makes it an 8 for you?
Well, as I said, I'm still getting adjusted to the TV situation, but the internet is great because I was able to bring my own tablet and, you know, just on my phone, so we still were able to look at our shows, and the internet was great. Now, I guess it was only little things that management didn't necessarily have. So there was a situation where we didn't really have enough towels. So, you know, but hey,
be specific, we had bath towels.
We had bath towels, we just didn't necessarily have face towels and hand towels. So, but once I sent a text, you know, got with me right away, they were able to supply us with some bath towels or face towels. And so, you know, they took care of that pretty good.
Yeah, that's good.
And other than that, I mean, you know, they give you everything. I mean, you know, with the silverware to where you place, dishes, food. They give you everything.
Well, not food.
No, not food.
Get the food.
No, they would. They said
food?
No, they would supply you with some food.
Yeah,
they would
right.
if you contacted them at least 2 to 3 days before you come to the tiny house. They would give you various foods. I can't remember what it is.
You're right. They're called add-ons. So basically, when you're booking this particular location of a tiny house, then they have add-ons and then they tell you what it is they can add on to the menu of things that they want. But it depends on, like, let's just put it this way. It's not something like they're going to be going to the grocery store for you. Not something like that. That's not what I'm meaning. But I can't remember specifically, but when you are booking the particular Airbnb tiny house, then they list what it is that you can add on to your total amount, as you know, as well as booking the Airbnb, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So he's right. I'm not completely right there. I had forgotten about that. Yeah, they do add-ons and what have you. And then they do supply you with, if you wanted to make coffee. I don't particularly drink coffee, at least not what they have there. It wasn't something that I decided to do, but they do have it if it's something that you would like to do.
Well, you didn't give your ranking, my love.
Oh. I didn't, did I? Of course, I would probably give it, I would say a 10, because the buzz kind of got to me a little bit, but I would say maybe a 9 more so. But like I said, I'm a little biased.
I thought you were going to say 9.5.
But I just love the overall experience. That's why I believe that I could do this long term, but I notice I'm saying I could, babe, he's still not quite there yet. It usually takes him a little time to catch up. I'll say, babe, read the room. Okay, so you think we would recommend?
Definitely recommend this place in regards to a tiny house because it does give you the privacy that you want. Hotel situation is great, but you know, a lot of times with the hotel situation, it's people up top, bottom. This gives you still that house situation, but not as big as a regular sized house because you may not necessarily want that. So I would definitely encourage you to do a tiny house because it's a great opportunity to get close with the person that you love. Oh,
so do you think that we would come back to this particular tiny house or go to another tiny house?
I'll say this much. Because they have other suites, tiny houses, I probably would want to try one of the other ones just to get a feel for the other ones. Because as my wife was saying, each one is differently designed and has different things on the inside a little bit. So I would probably try like another suite.
I think this would be a thing. If I'm going somewhere, I would probably want to invest in staying in a tiny house.
Yeah, I definitely recommend tiny houses. I would more or less tell you get a little bit more knowledge on some of the other tiny houses. YouTube is a great place because there are other channels. Definitely, I would say a tiny house is really a way to go.
Their bookings are priced differently, as we have found out from Levi's channel that there is just, his channel is just a great resource for when you are looking for an Airbnb tiny house, because that's what he's all about. So
yeah,
that's how we found out about this particular one.
And I mean, as I said, there are other YouTube channels. I mean, another person that we've looked at, which I might want to try some of those places, WillTravel.
Yeah.
He has been connected with Levi. So yeah, it's like I said, it's really a lot of other tiny houses that you'd be very surprised. There, some are just very nice.
Yeah.
And you'd be very surprised. Not that this is not nice. It is nice. So at the end of the day, I am enjoying spending time with my beautiful wife here, and we're just going to enjoy the rest of this experience of living the tiny house life.
Yes, as he said, living. So that's my goal, to get him to want to live the lifestyle permanently.
Okay.
Yeah, he said, okay. Anyway, I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. It's not like my regular content, so I'm really hoping that you guys will give me a thumbs up. Be sure to check out all the other videos that I have on my channel, cleaning, decluttering, and organizational type of content. And I'll see you guys in the next one.
Take care. Bye.